The tiny hawk shifted from one foot to the other on top of her cold marble perch, a thick crust of hail crackling beneath her talons as she peered into the wind. It didn't blow so much as scream, ripping down Fifth Avenue from the Arctic tundra of Central Park and swelling the streets with never-ending snow. Tendrils of ice from ruptured pipes and water mains crept through fissures in the earth as the snow banked higher and higher against darkened windows and strained awnings, so deep that the city groaned beneath its weight. The hawk tilted her head against the storm, her red eyes staring, unblinking, at a shadow, gray and grainy behind a curtain of white. Movement. It had been 24 hours since the East River had frozen over, and more than twice that long since the Cooper's hawk had eaten. Over 1 million pigeons, plump and easy pickings, had disappeared at the first sign of frost, secreting themselves into rotting cornices and abandoned lofts, while gray squirrels nestled deep in the hearts of hollowed-out plane trees. Even the rats had been driven underground, into the roots of the city, a tangle of sewers and subways where they huddled for warmth. Only the deer, who had traversed the thickening ice floes on the Hudson River from New Jersey in search of food, roamed the streets. Shoulders taut, the little hawk leaned forward on her perch, talons flexing with anticipation as the shadow shuffled out from behind a half-buried cab. It was a squat, pigeon-shaped bird, with wind-ruffled feathers so perfectly suited to the weather that it seemed to almost disappear into the shimmering wall of the storm. Snowy white and unaware, it pecked hopefully at its feet as the hawk's eyes narrowed, ravenously judging the puff of the smaller bird's chest while it scratched for grubs and other signs of frozen life between the ice. So comfortable in the biting cold, and so far from home. The Cooper's hawk spread her wings, her rust-red feathers rippling atop the triumphal arch as she launched herself into the howling wind. In the half-second before she connected with the helpless ivory gull, the empty park looked almost peaceful. Somewhere beneath the snow and ice, Christmas lights still twinkled and thick, airy snowflakes swirled over the surrounding brownstones like a scene from a picture book. If it were any other year, a smiling Salvation Army Santa Claus would be ringing his bell as pink-cheeked carolers gathered beneath the arch with hot chocolate in mittened hands. But caroling, long since canceled, was the last thing on anyone's mind. It had been days since the high end of the forecast had dropped below zero and the trains had stopped running. Even without the citywide curfew, there was no one left outside to hear the startled cries of the ivory gull as Fifth Avenue erupted in an explosion of feathers. No last-minute shoppers, no tourists dodging snowballs. In the hours after the governor declared a state of emergency, they jostled shoulders on overcrowded subway platforms and shouted into their phones from endless airport lines, waiting to board planes that would never take off, as taxis fishtailed across black ice, slamming into parked cars and telephone poles, blocking the plows. It was only after the news of frostbitten evacuees spread through the tri-state area that stranded vacationers finally accepted the inevitable. There was no outrunning the historic blizzard. Their only options were to wait for the roads to clear or for help.